Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw. Okay, so the image is it's a composite. It's like an ad almost, or it's like a poster. It's in black and white. Two primary photos. So on the top is a photo that the first time I saw this in a like you think in UFC, I was kind of taken aback. But anyway, on top there's a logo AVA. And then two guys are in a kind of jiu-jitsu sort of position where one guy is clearly smothering, like having his hand over the mouth and the nose of the other combatant. And then underneath that says new, all smothers permitted. And then underneath that is a guy basically in looks like full mount, overwhelming some other guy. Again, black and white. Whew, okay, all smothers permitted. What is this?
AVA is a tournament league, and it's a submission-only tournament league that I run along with a couple other people, and it's pretty wild, actually. My approach with this tournament is to offer pure grappling, where points doesn't matter. It's all about submission. That's it. And I'm very open to listen to competitors. And so the rules we can change around because we're not BJJ or following anybody like ADCC. We're not following no one else's rule set. We're just kind of doing our own. And which is fun because there's some things that disagree with, I compete in the BJJF and I respect our rules. And when I compete, that's fine. I just go and I do the thing. I don't complain about anything. I just follow the rules and compete in that way. And I train to compete in those rules. But, for my own tournament, I like to make it so like the smother. Why is that not allowed in a lot of leagues? So I listen to competitors and coaches and make a decision based on that. So just, that pitch just started with, I just suddenly all of us I had a lot of competitors asking because we have a tournament coming up on March the 4th, and a lot of competitors are asking like, hey, are we allowed to do this smother? Am I going to get disqualified? Because that's in the rule set it's a DQ if you block the airway. Mm-hmm. It's only allowed at the pro level. So I had to clarify it in a social media post. I had to say this is not allowed. Just to be clear, it's only allowed for pros. All the comments, people went a little, start to express their opinions about it. All of it was pro smother. Mm-hmm. And I had to, it got me thinking like, okay, what's blocking the airways? Why not? And, you can hold your breath. If you're a good swimmer, you can probably hold your breath for a good minute.
Yeah.
So it's probably safer than a blood choke. I think a blood choke, you have about 20 seconds and you fall asleep.
Yeah.
And the airway choke is it's going to depend on your cardio.
Yeah.
But it looks funky. I mean, like I think that's like I always wondered why does it look like unethical to choke someone with covering their airways? If that's the case, well, who cares? I think you need to learn how to defend that stuff anyways. You're learning a martial art where you're supposed to defend yourself. I mean, that's something someone may do. They may cover your mouth and your nose.
But okay, so I think the first time I saw that in a competition was John Jones fighting, I think Cormier or something, and I think that was a fight. Anyways, it was something, and then sure enough, he covered his face, like his mouth and his nose, and I remember my visceral reaction because it was the first time I'd seen it in a competition, and I was just like, "What?" I was just like, I was shocked, and of course you compare it to like what is a submission in BJJ where you're basically doing a blood choke. You're basically cutting off the blood supply to the person's brain. And then, it's so funny that the phrase is, oh, you go to sleep, makes it sound so innocuous. It's like, well, you're making them unconscious. You know, it's like you have to stop quickly because it can get quite dangerous. So, okay, smothers. Yeah. Like
people train these as techniques, like using their chest. The people actually train this. They shove the person's face onto their chest and just block their nose and their mouths and just like suffocate them. Like these are actual techniques that people practice for certain professional leagues. And I find it very amusing myself. I think it's kind of funny. You know, I've been training that in class actually lately. I've been actually doing a lot of like smothers, like the blocking their face, and it's hilarious. We both have a laugh. Like,
okay,
I'm blocking, and they're like shaking their heads and they're freaking out. It's kind of funny.
So it's really funny. Here's the thing: somebody who listens to just that might jump to certain conclusions about what you're like, and you're a sensitive, sweet man. Like, it's weird.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm being friendly when I do it.
Yeah,
you know? I guarantee there's no pain involved. Just a little bit of panic.
Sure.
You know, that's what happens. People panic a little bit with, you know, their mouths and nose covered. They're like, oh shit, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
But anyways, you know, like with AVA, we made a decision. I think it's a really good decision. We're going to allow it for all belt levels, 16 years old plus. And see how it goes. Like, see how creative people will be. I think it's interesting. I've been seeing a lot of people posting themselves training with doing smothers, and they're really preparing for it. So I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of attempts for it.
Right. So do you feel that it adds so for example, some things come into fashion, right? So for example, I think some people are saying that now a huge shift in how people are doing maybe no gi versus gi, but is things like leg locks, right? It's kind of like, it seems to be a fashion, you know, it's coming in. So do you feel that smothers are kind of like a fashion?
I hope so. And I hope that, you know, AVA is contributing to the fashion. We're definitely supporting that submission. I think it's amazing. Like it's just, I think it's a great setup for rear naked chokes, for example. It's a great setup for a lot of different things. Even, you know, it doesn't need to be the end of this, you know, the actual submission. It just creates like a huge reaction from the, you know, the defender.
Right.
And I think people will be creative and probably find different ways to do it by using different parts of the body, you know, not just the hands.
Yeah.
Or the chest. You know, I'm sure you could probably find some way to do it with the legs. I don't know, some kind of triangle. Who knows? I don't know. My mind is like, I can think of some weird ways.
The crotch smother. For sure.
Yeah, just sit on someone's face, like block the airway that way.
The taint.
Oh my god, the taint. Oh man, we shouldn't be talking about that. People are gonna try it.
Really?
They're gonna actually try it, and no one's gonna come compete. They're gonna be like, we don't want anyone to take a picture of that. No one wants to be on the receiving end.
So somebody listening to this who's never done BJJ is going to be obviously like turned off, because it's like there's something kind of it's violent, it's combat, so what's the appeal then? So how do you win somebody over?
it's the jiu-jitsu is a hard sell. You need to, you know, it really depends what the person wants. I don't know. I don't know. I think if you're honest with them, it's a hard sell. It's going to be, it depends on how sensitive the person is. Some people are like, in their minds, they're like, oh yeah, I would love to do this. Then their egos get shattered, and then they can't come back because they're just like, they're like, no way, I'm not going to spend 2 years to learn how to do this before I can do okay.
Yeah.
So that turns people off. Some people that are really fragile may think, oh, it's a good idea for self-defense, you know, especially like small women. Probably a reason why so many women don't do jiu-jitsu, which they should. I really think they should.
Me too.
I mean, a lot of them come in and try, and they realize, oh shit, man, I don't feel like doing this on a regular basis. You know, coming in and like rolling with sweaty guys and getting smashed all the time. So I think it takes tenacity. So, I mean, a good way to sell it is that it's safe, actually. I know we talk about these really brutal looking submissions, but it's all safe. I mean, for the most part, I mean, at first your body doesn't know how to move with jiu-jitsu. So that's why you probably start with getting a lot of injuries in the first few months, maybe a year. And but that goes away as you learn how to, your body just learns how to move the way it's supposed to, and the injuries go way down. And it's just, yeah, I guess that's the sell. It's like it's the gentle art. It's supposed to be, anyways. And I think you gotta. It's for the person who is looking for, you know, a place to kind of like be with people they like. You develop naturally like a bit of a friendship with a team.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's a social thing too. You know, people need other people, and it's a fun way. You know, like try to kill each other and laugh about it. Hopefully, you know, you can laugh about it.
Want to move on to the next photo?
Sure.
All smothers permitted. It's pretty.
All smothers permitted. Hopefully, you know, we can bring that down to the kids division eventually.
Oh, well, I can imagine a parent listening to that going like, no.
But I guarantee there'll be some going, yeah,
okay,
that should be permitted.
Sure. Well, I mean, if you're allowed to do things like a rear naked choke, or if you're allowed to do basically so many of the submissions are basically where you tap somebody out. Maybe some of them it's like you're holding their arm in like an arm bar could potentially break their elbows, so the person taps out. But in a submission like a choke, it's kind of like it's a choke.
Yeah. What's the difference between? Well, there is a difference between air and blood. I still think, you know, blocking the airway.
I think the blood is
a lot more dangerous. It's quicker.
Yeah.
And like I said, like the air, it depends on your fitness level. But we'll see what happens, you know.
There definitely is something visceral when you see that happening for the first time, or at least for me it will. I was just like, oh man. Yeah,
I know those are moves for ninjas. You know? Those are moves you learn if you're a ninja. At nighttime, you got to go around and make sure they're quiet, right? And when you put them to sleep, you go to
So is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw.